Hi, everyone. My name is Elisa Wittkop. I'm a licensed associate therapist with the Mindful Multicultural Counseling Center in Ewing, New Jersey. As a parent of a child with autism, the back to school process can be a bit stressful this time of year, as any parent with a child that has an IEP or 504 plan knows. So I put together this short back to school checklist for parents and guardians, just to try to help make the transition to school, back to school this year, a little more see-through if possible. So just a quick review of the legal codes and stuff. The NJAC and the IDEA 2004 Act are the two main laws that govern and dictate that children with disabilities and special needs be provided with a free, appropriate education in the least restrictive environment. So to break down least restrictive environment, because it's a lot of acronyms sometimes, least restrictive environment just means that your child is entitled to academic learning in the least restrictive school setting possible. So by that, they mean, are they going to be in a mainstream classroom all day, or do they need to be in an inclusion classroom? Can they join from an inclusion classroom in specials with children in mainstream classrooms? That is what they mean by least restrictive environment. It also provides the legal codes that parents and guardians are to be an integral part of the child study team to ensure that your child has access to the academic standards and goals that they are entitled to. So a little bit of plan transparency, just defining the terms. So an IEP stands for an individualized education plan. It's what's known as a living, breathing document. Now, what does that mean? A living, breathing document means that it can be altered or had changes made to it at any point in time, even prior to the annual review period, which is typically in May or June. You can request changes to the IEP plan in writing by contacting the case manager or the district supervisor of special services. Your child can also request changes be made to their IEP or 504 plan, and so can the school. So the plan itself consists of specific goals for improving academic performance at school. The objectives will target how specific goals will be achieved. So the goal, for example, could be to improve speech pronunciation, and the objectives would say we will improve their speech enunciation and pronunciation by having them meet with a speech therapist 1 time per week, offering them speech classes and speech practice homework. That is what the objectives are. They will tell you exactly the means and the method by which they mean to complete or achieve the goal. Every IEP should have a plan key, or what's called a legend, like with a map, at the bottom of the front page or on any of the pages, really. It's consisting of definitions for the goals and the objectives terms and any other terms you might see that might be unfamiliar throughout the IEP. It'll specifically say, A is for achieved, PS is for progressing satisfactorily, that sort of thing. A 504 plan, similar to an IEP plan, it's typically less restrictive and offers fewer services than an IEP does. So an IEP is really the gold standard when we are thinking of goals and objective plans for children in school. 504 plan is a little bit less restrictive. They tend to focus more on a child's behavioral and mental health goals rather than their academic performance, but academic performance can be in there as well sometimes. Again, it's also a living, breathing document, meaning that it can have changes made to it at any point in time. What's important to know about these changes, however, is that legally, the changes must be made in the same form that the original plan was created. So this means that if you are altering something that is in writing, it can only legally have alterations made to it or changes made in writing. A verbal agreement will not suffice for making a legal permanent change to an IEP or 504 plan. That would require a new IEP or 504 plan being typed up with the changes added, or with you and the case manager and plan players involved going back and initialing and signing and dating when the changes were implemented, but always in writing. And again, with an IEP plan, it'll have a plan legend or a key that spells out what each objective and goal term means. And okay. So child study team, sometimes I have seen it called a response to intervention team. This includes you too. You are the leader of this team. Never forget that. Nobody knows your child better than you do. And this opportunity to advocate for them by being a part of the team can only benefit them. Also at a child study team, you will typically see sometimes your child, the assigned staff case manager for duties. This can either be the school psychologist, a special education teacher, a school counselor, sometimes more than one person, but it'll also contain a school psychologist, a general education teacher, a special education teacher, sometimes both. It'll have a school counselor or a social worker, a speech or occupational therapist, and a school nurse sometimes can even be present if it is required for your child to take medication during the daytime. So a contact checklist. It's important for parents to have an idea or a list of people that they can contact once school starts, with a list of complaints, questions, or concerns about the plans or the goals that you have outlined for the year. By the end of the first week, you should have received paperwork that tells you who your child's designated classroom teachers are, if there's more than one. Typically, they should also tell you or introduce the names of the aides, and you should know who their therapists will be, whether this is a school psychologist or they're receiving counseling services, or if it's an occupational therapist or a speech therapist, you should be given their names, emails, and contact information as well to be able to follow up with them if you have any questions or concerns or complaints. Reviewing daily progress notes and behavior charts that are sent home with your child are always important. Address any questions and concerns that you have immediately in email or text. Please, I can't say enough, it needs to be in writing. If it's not in writing, it never happened and it doesn't exist. Another thing I like to recommend for parents that I also do for myself, just to have peace of mind and to keep things organized, I use the notes section on my phone, and in there I have a list of my son's classroom teacher's name, the aides, the therapists, and their contact phone numbers, as well as the bus driver's phone number, because, you know, sometimes there's traffic or accidents happen. Knowing when to make contact. Sometimes that can be a difficult choice to make as a parent. When do we say something and when do we not? If you have any concerns about the IEP goals themselves, absolutely bring it to their attention prior to an annual review. If it's the beginning of the year, you don't want to wait until June if there's an important goal that you think needs to be added or addressed this school year. Or if you think it's too restrictive, too broad, if it needs any change in service frequency or duration, or you want a change of how and through what means the goal objectives are being targeted. Any concerns about staff changes or staff interactions with your child, either reported or suspected. Any safety concerns about the school environment, interactions with other kids in the school, either in their class or not in their class, really anything that involves safety, you should always feel free to contact out of concern. The appropriateness of the current classroom setting, getting back to that least restrictive environment. Do they belong in a mainstream classroom versus an inclusion classroom? Or do they need to be in an inclusion classroom and should not be in a mainstream classroom? Can they be joining mainstream classes for specials, or should there be separation and concern regarding joining with specials too? And again, always address these concerns in writing or email. If it's not written down, you don't have any proof that it happened. So please, everything needs to be in writing. So just a quick list of who you can file a complaint with and how to file a complaint. I started with the school administration, administrative level, excuse me. So for Ewing Township, since that's where we are, I first listed the contact information for the director, district supervisor of special education for kindergarten level and for middle school level. And then on the right-hand side, if you have district level complaints, you would contact Mr. Harry Louth. He's the director of special services for Ewing Board of Education. He's very great with responding to emails, I will say. So is Maria Petsos at Untitled. State level complaints, I have not had to file one of these yet, but this is the information regarding who you would write a letter or email regarding a state level complaint. A state level complaint is the level that I would go to if you felt that the township schools and then the Board of Education or the district was not listening or taking your concerns seriously. Educational advocacy support and information. It exists, it's real, and it's so helpful if you know how to access it. On the right-hand side of the top, I just broke down some definitions of what a family support organization is. They are family-run, community and county-based organizations. They do family-to-family direct peer support, education support, emotional support. And the difference between an FSO and a CMO is you're getting someone that is like me, that isn't just an outsider looking in. You get the benefit of having someone that has shared experience. It's a person who is in your shoes or has been in your shoes and knows how to navigate the system themselves because they are also a part of the system. Case management organizations are also really fantastic because they can help you provide a full range of treatment for children with complex needs. They can help set up and support IFP goals and IEP goals. The goal of a CMO is to keep children placed in their current homes and school settings. So in Mercer County, you'll see that we have the Special Parent Advocacy Group. They're on North Olden Avenue. We also have Capital County Children's Collaborative or Perform Care. They're what I think of when I think of CMO organizations. The Arc of Mercer County, their address was a little funny. I'm not sure if they're changing locations, so I just put the contact email there for you in case you're interested. And the Mercer County Family Service Organization, the main building is right off of Quaker Bridge Road. And I also, on the bottom right here, put in links for DCF or the Department of Children and Families, direct links to the Office of Family Support Services and care management organizations. I hope that this back to school edition of IEPs and 504 plans was helpful. Have a great school year and take care.